Hello, my name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD 89, a VA claims consultant, leave no vet behind, and also I'm a United States Army veteran. I'm pleased to introduce our guest today, and his name is Mark, and he is a United States Air Force veteran. How you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing fantastic, Dwayne.
Hey, well, let me first thank you for your service and thank you for doing this live testimonial. Mark is a previous client of KMD 89 Consulting and has graciously agreed to do a live testimonial today. So we definitely appreciate that, Mark. I just wanted to start out the questioning, and like I do in all my live testimonials, I always like to gauge or get some feedback from our clients of, what has been or what was your VA claims experience like when you first started, when you first filed your first claim, up until the point you became a client of KMD 89 Consulting?
Well, reflecting back now, and I think it's 18 years since I initially started the process. And one of the things I can definitely say, having started the process and to where I'm at now is totally two different things. I think when I first started, like most vets, I understand there's two different routes. Some people are transitioning out of the military. I was fortunate to actually have a VA doctor who I was seeing for some of my medical complaints. And the doctor asked me whether or not I was service connected for the conditions. And I mentioned to them, no, I wasn't. And I have passed on to them, I think sometimes the idea that some veterans have that if my condition is not severe, such as loss of limbs or something like that, then this is something that I should leave for others, without the idea that these are subsidies that are provided to all veterans by Congress, and it's something there whether you use it or lose it. So again, from there, I pursued, my first initial claim, and I can tell you, it was definitely a maze of information. I really didn't know where to start. I think what helped me out was the Veteran Service Organization. And then as I continued on from there, it was one of those things where, I think 20 years ago, to where we are now with information and technology, there was a huge gap with that. So I got, information word of mouth here or there, and there was no way for me to really know or verify as a layperson the accuracy of this stuff. So I kind of felt, as I progressed throughout the years, it was a lot of false starts, a lot of denials. Not really understanding in particular what the VA is particularly looking for in regards to the information that needed to be provided.
Right. So it sounds like with your initial process, you had some help. Like you said, you were lucky enough to have a not VA doctor, but a doctor ask you about service connections. But along the way, you definitely hit some walls, ran into some buzz saws. Like you said, you had those denials and things of that nature, correct?
That is correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. So once you became a client of KMD 89 Consulting, that frustration and those negative opinions that you received, those denials that you received from the VA, once you became a client of KMD 89 Consulting, how did the educational packet alleviate that? Did you find it helpful? And if so, if you would have had something like that back when you first started, do you think you still would have ran into a lot of those issues that you initially had?
Well, I tell you, what you have done here with KMD 89 Consulting, in my opinion, is revolutionary, because that is the key piece for any veteran out here, is the educational piece of this whole matter. And the information is all out there, with regulations and stuff like that. And depending on your background in life, Some people may understand regulations more than others. So it's nothing that you know or your organization has contrived, but KMD 89 has allowed me the opportunity in a very succinct and straightforward format to really understand, number one, what is contained within the regulations and what needs to, what the whole process involves. And I just, yeah, if I had that information before, it would have been a totally different, maybe that 18 years would be, I don't know, a year or 2 years or something like that. I remember, I'll share with you before, having the opportunity to connect with you, meeting with a lawyer, and not really understanding that, as a lot of lawyers who assist veterans are assessing you as a veteran, they have information also. They have access to the information. These are private lawyers. I remember the lawyer pretty much telling me that my situation was not, I'm trying to remember the exact verbiage, but pretty much I was not a good enough client for him. And I really didn't understand that. And what that really what he was trying to say was that he wasn't really debating about the value of whether my particular situation was worthwhile. It was in that business person's mind, from a dollars and cents standpoint, is it worth it to work with this veteran who has legitimate claims and issues? And that really was something that I thought to myself, there's something wrong here with this overall. I know there's other organizations on the internet that provide different things, and I'm sure some of them are not nefarious or bad, but I think the thing that surprised me also, that how, again, the emphasis, maybe on helping out veterans, but there's more of this, what can we get out of the veteran? And KMD 89, I tell you, is anyone looking at this testimonial and all the other people that have given testimonials, there's a common thread of what you've asked about, this in the educational piece, and then also working with you and the ability that you have in connecting with veterans, and your backgrounds, you speak for itself. And then also, you're a very sincere person. So I just think for those of us that have the opportunity to connect with you, I understood clearly when I connected you with you and we began working through this process, that there's no guarantees, but I could tell you the information that you provided me in your educational packets, the regulation, the manual references, the understanding about what my military health records have said, and also rating sheet, things of that nature, is invaluable, because no one else out here is doing that. I also am connected with a veteran service organization, and I would say I understand that they have thousands of other veterans that they're dealing with on a constant basis, walking in and out. So I think at some point, maybe people get burnt out, or they're not able to provide the full service. I did have some good people that provided me some information, but they only have a certain window of time to deal with you. And I think one of the things I've appreciated about working with you in this process is it's never rushed at all. And you're always available, whether it is by phone call, or it's a text message, or through the technology you've incorporated on your website. So again, kudos to you for what you have been doing for us fellow veterans.
Right. And we definitely appreciate that here at KMD 89 Consulting. A lot of things that you said, we take pride in educating the veteran. And even before I even started KMD 89 Consulting, I had to sit down and think about, how could I reach veterans? How can I get them to understand this process? And I was like, it has to be through education. And even now, when I hear some of the feedback from like yourself and other veterans, is the things that they like that we're doing, but always trying to improve that education piece, because times are changing. Things change every day. They could be changing something in the 38. The VA could be changing something in the 38 CFR, the M21 reference as we speak. Even in my YouTube videos, I do research. The day I do a video on a particular topic, and I'm like, okay, let me take some screenshots, let me highlight some areas, and then look at the M21 or 38 CFR. So I know that the veteran is getting the most up-to-date education as possible. And I know, like you said, we've talked on several occasions, and you get a couple of buzzsaws, but luckily, we were able to come back, and do some additional research and educate you so, you could clear those hurdles. So again, we want to thank you for entrusting us, because, when we logged on the Zoom today, I was like, hey man, it's nice to meet you. It's the first time we've seen each other, I would say in person, but by video, because it's always been, like you said, text, phone call, or electronic email or something like that. But, definitely, we really appreciate, yourself and other veterans that, you entrusted us. You didn't know who we were when we initially talked or anything like that. But you entrusted us to educate you. And that means a lot to us, because even during this pandemic, businesses and people, they've had to pivot, work or personal situations or whatever, but it's helped us here at KMD 89 to reach more vets, because a lot of vets are at home more. They're spending time, they're working from home now. They're spending more time. They have time to spend on YouTube, watch different videos or whatever, and they'll say, hey, I came across your video. And even some veterans, they'll call and I'll pick up the phone. They'll be like, is this Dwayne Kimball? Yes, it is. From the YouTube channel. And they'll be so shocked that I picked up, and then within 24, 48 hours, we may have another conversation. They'll say what you said. And it's like, man, you're very responsive. And we're proud of ourselves on that, because, our slogan is leave no vet behind. So we want to make sure that we can do what we can do within our control is to educate veterans. A lot of people, a lot of veterans, they're able to achieve that 100%, but a lot of them do not. But whatever your maximum evaluation is, whether it's 20, 30, 40, 50% or whatever, we want to educate you to alleviate that frustration as you go through the process. So I'll just wrap it up, and I think you pretty much summed it up, Mark. But is there anything out there that you would like to share with other veterans that will see this? Because we're going to put it, we're going to post a video on our website along with posting on our YouTube channel.
Sure. So, you hit on a couple of things there, Dwayne. And for any veterans who is seeing this for the first time, Dwayne and his team at KMD 89 Consulting is the real deal. Hopefully, you've listened to some of the statements that I've given before in terms of the other entities that are out there that are charging people exorbitant amount of money to do similar things, or these lawyers that are only interested in you if your claim represents a specific dollar figure. I understand that they're business people, they have businesses to run, but I think one of the common threads that we all have as veterans is this frustrating process when dealing with the VAs. And throughout the years, I've had the opportunity to traverse through 3 or 4 different systems, and it's always the same level of frustration and run around and whatever the case may be. And I think the key thing that you all say up front is that ideally, yes, everyone wants to get to whatever magic number they're trying to get to, but it's really about, and I appreciate you saying this, because it really is maximizing your benefits to your specific situation. And KMD 89 will be able to take a look at your situation and also really provide you the educational piece behind maybe what has happened in the past with your particular rating, or what you may need to particularly do in terms of the information that's there within the regulations per se. I think one of the other things I wanted to say to you, because as you said, information has changed so rapidly technology wise, and you're in a great place to be able to connect with people so broadly now. You know, myself being thirsty for knowledge and trying to find as much information I can in the past, you know, that hasn't changed over the years, and that's even grown. Even along with working with you, I still am investigating. And as we have come to maximize my benefits, I was still looking at videos of different processes and different people that have their own thing. And what's interesting, and I think this is something to be said about KMD 89, in other people's web programs that they're talking about VA claims, and they have the chat window is opening. All of a sudden, I saw Dwayne Kimball. Is this Dwayne? Dwayne is a great person. And in the business world, some people could be very nasty and say, "Oh, well, that person does this or that person that does." That person actually, even though they're doing something very similar, I think in that case it may be more about advice. They were very complimentary towards you, and Dwayne knows his stuff. He's a prior VA Raider, and he's a good person, and so I think that speaks volume in regards to the legacy KMD 89 Consulting is leaving. I mean, your tagline, "Leave no vet behind." It's spot on. So I think that is it. But just thank you sincerely very much again for everything that you've done for myself and, you know, all your other fellow veterans out here. This is a tremendous program.
Right. And again, you know, thank you for your service, and thank you for entrusting us, and, you know, thank you for doing this live testimonial, because, you know, like I said, it was going to go on a website, a YouTube channel, so other veterans can see what their fellow veterans have went through as it pertains to the VA claims process. I have several videos, YouTube videos, where I explain my personal experience. And, you know, in one video, I state I made a 5-minute mistake. I got some bad information, and it took me literally 4 years to correct it. Now, that's a long time.
Right.
Now, if you did the math on how many minutes is in 4 years, and it took that just to correct something I did, or based on some information that I received over a 5-minute period, that is extremely a long period of time. And before I let you go, I want to say this. One thing, when I started my business, I really had to sit down and think, what can I do so no other vet can experience some of the horrors that I experienced going through this claims process. So again, you know, that's, you know, the YouTube channel, the monthly educational classes that we give. I just got off one maybe 5 minutes before I jumped on the call with you, because I'm gonna tell you, when you are going through a process like this, and like you said, 18 years hit with, you know, a lot of roadblocks, it could get frustrating, and it could get frustrating real quick. Right. You know, you could do something and it could put you out there on that island, and you're there for a while. So again, you know, thank you for entrusting us. We appreciate it, because you didn't have to become a client. You didn't have to call me that particular day. We're happy that you did. You're very extremely cooperative veteran. You were thirsty for knowledge. You always ask questions. You know, we had those conversations. So definitely thank you again. And we definitely appreciate you volunteering your time, taking time away from your family, out of your work schedule, to do this live testimony.
And, you know, Dwayne, one of the things I meant to say to the veterans that are looking at this also is that we're built for this. You know, we've gone through basic training. Some of us have gone overseas in different conflicts or whatever the case may be, and have endured a lot of different type of things for extended periods of time. You may be coming to KMD 89 frustrated or whatever the case may be. It's not going to be just a magical flip your switch, but, right, you know, knowledge is power, as they would always say. And once you gain this increased level of knowledge and support, knowledge and support, education, knowledge and support, then you can proceed forward and understand, okay, I'm going forward. And then just as you said, in my situation, there were a couple of roadblocks, but I knew again that we were proceeding along in the right manner. And it was just a matter of being patient with the process. And, again, as you said, I've been able to maximize my situation. So thank you.
Okay, definitely appreciate it. And safe travels to you and your wife and kids. If you're traveling this weekend, hope you have a good holiday and a good weekend. It's supposed to be warm here in Florida. Another hot one is going to continue to get hot, but that just means is more time you can spend with the family out back in the pool.
Right. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.